Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Nar from the Nar Report. Back today with another episode. This is episode 18 of the Nar Report. And before I get started, I want to say happy holidays to everybody out there. Happy holidays to my subscribers, my followers on Instagram and TikTok. And I just want to say thank y'all so much for all the love and support. I'll keep on doing this every day. The Nar Report. Make sure you follow me on all of my social media platforms on Instagram and TikTok at D_NAR_report. And make sure you sub to the YouTube, click that bell, follow it, and make sure to click the bell again and get all of my notifications on when I go live. All right. And before I get into it, quick shout out to my guy, Mr. 401 from Mr. 401 Sports World. Appreciate the love and support, my guy. That is my favorite person to talk to. I've been on his podcast a lot, and he's just a great guy. And in today's episode, I'll talk about a lot of things. College football playoffs, round one just ended. A lot of things to be talked about. The teams that should have been in it and stuff like that. I'll talk about that. Week 16 of the NFL season wrapped up last night against the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints. And I'll give y'all my Week 17 NFL predictions. All right. Once again, happy holidays. Let's get this baby started. Starting off with the college football playoffs. Round one. Man, round one was awful. One of the worst first-round playoffs I've ever watched. It wasn't even competitive. It was just straight blowouts, okay? Straight blowouts. Like, on Saturday, the Saturday games weren't even close at all. I'm glad I watched the NFL games because, woof, that wasn't it. But let's get into the games. Starting off with Indiana and Notre Dame. Notre Dame wins 27-17. Yes, 27-17. Let's talk about it. Notre Dame played a great game. Offense was great. Defense was phenomenal. They ran all over Indiana. The running game was efficient. The passing game was efficient. Notre Dame came ready to play. And it's crazy because I picked Indiana to win. I expected this to be a very close game because Indiana's a very good team, but I didn't know they was going out like that. Because what was that? Like, this is the playoffs. This is not the regular season. But first of all, like I said, first round was awful. That game was pretty boring. Notre Dame just ran all over them. And that's it. Notre Dame wins 27-17. Moving on to the next game, we have a blowout between Penn State and SMU. Penn State blows the doors off of SMU, 38-10. Man, let's talk about it. Penn State ran all over SMU. Man, SMU should have just forfeited the game. When the score was 21-0, they should have just forfeited because it did not go well. And let's talk about earlier in the game what happened. It was 4th and 1. Jennings rolls out to his right and throws the ball and was incomplete, which he should have ran for the first down. I'm like, yo, why didn't you run for the first down? If you would have ran for the first down, you would have got at least 3 to 5 yards. Okay? Excuse me. But instead, you throw the ball to a receiver, and it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. Like, what was that? Penn State, phenomenal game. Offense, elite. Defense, phenomenal. Penn State just blows the doors off of SMU. SMU, you should have never been in the playoffs. Okay? SMU should have never been in the playoffs, but I'll get to that later in the show after I finish. But that's it. Penn State wins 38-10 against SMU. Moving on to the next game, we got Clemson at Texas. Texas win 38-24. Let's talk about it. Overall, this was a good game, though. It wasn't competitive, but Texas, very good team. The biggest threats to the Georgia Bulldogs. And that's what I have in the championship game, Georgia and Texas. Texas is a very good team. They got an amazing quarterback, Archie Manning. They got a very good run game. The defense is elite. Texas is a problem in these playoffs. They are a problem. Let's talk about Clemson. Clemson, they played all right, but it wasn't enough to beat Texas. I knew it wasn't going to be close because Texas is a dominant team. Texas is one of the most dominant teams in college football. Like, nobody can hang in with them. But that's it. Texas win 38-24 against Clemson. Last but not least, we got Ohio State blowing out Tennessee 42-17. Man, I thought it was going to be close. And I can't believe I picked Tennessee to win because Ohio State is not really a playoff team, but they proved me wrong. Ohio State proved me wrong. They are a playoff team, okay? And I don't think they're going to do nothing in the next round against Oregon, but let's just keep it there. Ron probably saved his job because if they would have lost that game, the head coach would have been fired. 100%. And that's it. Ohio State wins 42-17, blowing the doors off of Tennessee. Tennessee should have stayed out. Okay? So now in the quarterfinals, we got Texas and Arizona State. I got Texas winning. Ohio State and Oregon. Give me Oregon. Penn State and Boise State. I'm going to go with Boise State to win. And then Notre Dame and Georgia. I got my Georgia Bulldogs, baby. Let's go. Go Dogs. This college football second round is going to be good, okay? It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be way better than the first round because what was that? Because what I watched in the first round was like watching a regular season game. Yes, that what it felt like. I watched the regular season game. And while I was watching the games, I was like, man, I could be doing something else. But let's talk about it. First of all, Notre Dame, SMU, and Clemson should have not been in the playoffs. Well, SMU and Clemson should have never been in the playoffs. Instead of Alabama, you could throw in Alabama, you could throw in LSU, Miami, but instead you throw in SMU, Clemson, and Notre Dame, and Tennessee. Those 4 teams don't even deserve to be in the playoffs. South Carolina, they could have been in as well too. But then you throw in those 4 teams, college football committee, you got to do better. Because first of all, how Miami didn't make it? Okay, I would love to see Cam Ward in the playoffs. How come Alabama didn't make it? How come South Carolina didn't make it? LSU, they would have been good in the playoffs, but the committee failed with the selections for the playoffs. But that's it for college football. Hopefully the second round becomes way better than it was. Now transitioning to the NFL. Week 16 of the NFL season wrapped up last night, and I'm here to recap all of the games. Starting off with the Thursday night football game, we got the Denver Broncos taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Huge game, playoff implications on the line. Chargers win 34-27 at home. Let's talk about it. The Los Angeles Chargers, great game. Justin Herbert played great. His passing game was elite. The run game for the Chargers was good, and the defense light up Bo Nix. They lit up Bo Nix. Looking at the stats for Justin Herbert, 23 for 31 for completion, threw for 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Justin Herbert had a good game, and the Los Angeles Chargers will be in the playoffs. Okay, now they will win a playoff game. Like if they go up against Baltimore or Buffalo, I don't see them winning. But if they go up against Houston, like the Texans, I can see them winning. And the Chargers could be a problem in the playoffs because I love what Coach Harbaugh is doing. Justin Herbert is playing elite. They got a very good defense. Watch out for the Chargers by playoff time. All right. Now let's talk about the Denver Broncos. The Broncos played a great game too, but the Chargers defense was too much for them. Okay. Bo Nix, he had a solid game. 29 for 40 for completion. Threw for 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. If the Broncos would have won that game, they will be in the playoffs. But instead, the Chargers came ready to play. They bounced back after a 2-game losing streak. They lost to the Bucs at home, and they lost to the Chiefs at Arrowhead. So that was a good bounce back win for the Chargers as they improved to 9-6 of the season. And that's it for Broncos and Chargers. Chargers won 34-27. 34-27. My bad. Now we got some Saturday games in the NFL. I'm gonna go over them right now. Starting off with the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs win 27-19 in Kansas City. And before I talk about this game, prayers up to Tank Dell. Prayers up for Tank Dell. Man, that injury was so sad to watch. The Texans couldn't even finish the game. Okay, Houston could have finished the game at all because that injury was so disappointing. Like CJ Stroud was crying, the players were crying. You got the kicker missing an extra point, which would have tied the game at 17. I'm telling you, since he got hurt, it wasn't good for the Houston Texans because they played like, man, we really can't finish this game. And I feel bad for CJ Stroud because that was his best friend. Okay, that's his brother right there, his number one target. And now he is officially out for the season. Prayers up to Tank Dell. That dude is a special wide receiver. Now let's go dive right into the game in general. First of all, the Kansas City Chiefs played a great game. Mahomes had a great game. Travis Kelce had a good game. The defense was good for the Chiefs. The Texans, Stroud had a good game until Tank Dell got hurt. In the first half, it was very competitive. But in the second half, Tank Dell got hurt. It was probably over for the Texans. It was over then. But let's go to the stats of CJ Stroud. 23 for 39 for completion, threw for 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He had a good overall. CJ Stroud played a good game, but when Tank Dell got hurt, he just wasn't there for the Houston Texans. And the defense played phenomenal. Well, they played very well. And this game didn't really, it wasn't a lot for the Texans. Like, this game really mean nothing to them because they're going to the playoffs. Okay, they already locked in. They will be the number 4 seed in the AFC, and they won their division as well too. So this game really didn't really mean nothing for the Texans. Now let's go to the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, he had a good game. 28 for 41 for completion, threw for 260 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. Travis Kelce, he had a good game. 7 targets, 5 receptions for 30 yards. Xavier Worthy, good game. 11 targets, 7 receptions, and 65 yards. Marquise Brown, his first game back from injury, had a good game. 8 targets, 5 receptions for 45 yards. The Chiefs are going to find ways to win games. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. Hey, when you have GOAT Mahomes, the Chiefs are unstoppable. And they was talking about Mahomes had a high ankle sprain. That ankle looked fine to me. He played through it. And here's the thing about Patrick Mahomes. When he gets injured, he plays through it, and he seems to be okay. That's why I call him GOAT Mahomes, because that dude is the GOAT. What's up, Mr. 411? Thanks for joining the show, my guy. Make sure you check out my guy, Mr. 411, from Mr. 411 Sports World right here at 411 Sports World Network on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. I love joining with this dude every day. I love talking to him about sports. That is my guy. Moving on to the next game, and that's it for Kansas City and Houston. Chiefs win 27-19. Moving on to the next game, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens win 34-17 at home against a division rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. A must-win game for Baltimore because if the Steelers would have won this game, they would have won the AFC North. Let's talk about it. Lamar Jackson played a phenomenal game, playing like an MVP. He should still be in the MVP conversation right now. Yes, Lamar Jackson, the way he's been playing, should be in the MVP conversation still. Looking at the stats for Lamar Jackson, 15 for 23 from completion, threw for 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. What a game by Lamar Jackson. The offense was great. The defense was phenomenal. That pick 6 changed the whole game for the Baltimore Ravens. Now let's talk about the Steelers. Russell Wilson, he had an okay game, but he made a lot of mistakes. Like, number one, earlier in the game, when he ran the ball for like 10 yards, instead of going down, he tries to make a play, try to jump over the defender. He fumbles the football. Ravens recover. If Russell Wilson did not fumble that ball or he didn't throw that pick six, the Steelers probably would have won that game. Let's look at stats for Russell Wilson. 22 for 33 for completion, threw for 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, I understand Russell Wilson is not having his number one target, and George Pickens affects him a lot, but the other receivers showed up as well, too. Kevin Austin, Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, Pat Freiermuth. The Steelers got some other weapons besides George Pickens, and they got a very good offense. The defense, the Steelers still got a good defense, but the Ravens' offense was too much for them. King Henry ran all over them. Zay Flowers torching the cornerbacks. Lamar Jackson lining their you-know-what up. They're both tied at 10-5. The Baltimore Ravens, after this win, will win the AFC North. And if you look at these two teams' remaining schedules, the Steelers, they got the Chiefs and the Bengals. If they win one of those final 2 games, they will win the division. Ravens, they got to win out, and hopefully Pittsburgh loses at least one more game, which I feel like the Ravens will win the division, okay? Baltimore's going to win the division, and Pittsburgh will be a wild card team. And that's it. Still, Ravens win 34-17. Now, moving on to the Sunday games. Starting off with my Atlanta Falcons defeating the New York Giants 34-7 in Atlanta. Michael Penix Jr. making his first start for the Atlanta Falcons. Great game. Michael Penix Jr., I'm glad we drafted him at the number 8 overall pick. That boy got an arm, man. And I'll talk about this on the Now Report on TikTok, too. So make sure you go check that out as well, too. But Michael Penix Jr. is officially our franchise quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. That boy got an arm. His field vision is very well. He's an elite playmaker. I love what I've seen from Penix Jr. Looking at his stats, 18 for 27 for completion, threw for 202 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. That 1 interception was not on him, okay? That was on Kyle Pitts. That was a catchable ball for Pitts, too. He joggled the ball. He was doing this with the ball, and then it ended up in an interception for the New York Giants. So that's where that 1 interception came from. But overall, Michael Penix Jr. had a great game. He had a great game. Bijan Robinson, he had a good game. 22 attempts for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson is carrying this Atlanta Falcons offense. Drake London, he had a good game. 8 targets, 5 receptions for 59 yards. Darnell Mooney, great game. 6 targets, 5 receptions for 82 yards. He had no targets last week against the Raiders, but now he comes up big against the Giants. The Atlanta Falcons are now 8-7, first place in the NFC South. Thank you for the Dallas Cowboys for beating the Buccaneers. I'll get into that shortly. But the Atlanta Falcons are 8-7. We will not be going 7-10 this season. I'm so happy, bro. We got over that 7-win max season. You know what? But the Falcons play great. Offense, amazing. The defense, phenomenal. 2 pick sixes, Jesse Bates and Matthew Judon. Shout out to those 2 yesterday, man, because Jesse Bates, that was the best pickup in free agency. Okay, one of our best pickups in free agency history. Jesse Bates. I love that dude. I might get his jersey. And then for the Giants, these boys suck. You know, they tanking and fire everybody. But that's it. Falcons win 34-7 against the Giants and still alive for the playoffs and the division. Moving on to the next game, we got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the New York Jets. Rams win 19-9. This was an ugly game overall. We had kickers missing field goals after extra points. The Jets, they were doing pretty good, but ain't really nothing much to say about the Jets. And I don't really have nothing much to say about this game. The Rams won, still in first place in the NFC West. They are still a very good team. And the Rams, I feel like they can win a playoff game this season. Yes, I feel like the Rams could win the playoff game this season by the way the offense is looking. The defense has questions, but the Rams could be one of the most dangerous teams in the playoffs in the NFC. Looking at the stats for Matthew Stafford, 14 for 19 for completion, threw for 110 yards, one touchdown, and one interception. Stafford had a good game. The receivers, Puka Nacua, he had a good game. 9 targets, 8 receptions for 56 yards. Cooper Kupp, 3 targets, 3 receptions for 24 yards. The Rams defense played phenomenal as well, too. But otherwise, it's the Jets, though. But let's talk about the stats for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, he had an okay game. 28 from 42 from completion. Threw for 256 yards, one touchdown, and 0 interceptions. Devontae Adams, 13 targets, 7 receptions for 68 yards. He had a good game. But the Rams are a playoff team, okay? They will win the NFC West, and they could become a problem for the playoffs, okay? By playoff time, the Rams could be scary. And that's it. Rams win 19-9. There wasn't really nothing much to say about that game. Moving on to the next game, we got the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Cleveland Browns 24-6 in Cincinnati. The Bengals are still alive for the playoffs at 7-8, and their path to the playoffs. I'm gonna get into their path on how can they still make the playoffs. First of all, they got to win out. Broncos lose out, which the Broncos and the Bengals play each other in Week 17, which is coming up on Saturday. They play Saturday in Cincinnati. Huge game. Bengals win, their season is alive. Broncos win, they're in the playoffs, and that officially concludes the AFC playoffs. Because if the Broncos and the Chargers win, the AFC playoffs are officially set, but the standings are still to be determined. All right. Joe Burrow, he had a great game. Jamar Chase had a good game. The offense was elite. The defense was good. And they was talking about this on the Get Up earlier. Nobody would want to face the Cincinnati Bengals in the playoffs, okay? Nobody would want to go up against Joe Burrow, okay? Because when Joe Burrow is in the playoffs, that dude shows off. He goes off, man, okay? And I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals could end up making the playoffs, okay? Like I said, their path, they got to win out. Denver loses out. And the Dolphins and the Colts got to lose one of their last 2 games. So there's still a chance. All right. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but who knows? All right. And I want to see this team in the playoffs because they can give problems to Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Kansas City. They don't want to go up against Cincinnati. Okay. Looking at the stats for Joe Burrow, he had a great game. 23 for 30 for completion, threw for 252 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That 1 touchdown. I thought he was down by contact, but no, he was on the grass, and then he threw it into the end zone. That was a highlight reel, okay? I should have posted that on our report because how did he make that play? But it did end up in a touchdown. But, man, Joe Burrow is a phenomenal quarterback, okay? Jamar Chase had a good game. 8 targets, 6 receptions for 97 yards, 1 touchdown. T. Higgins, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 58 yards, and 1 touchdown. Hey, the Bengals got some good players. They got a good defense. Well, it's not that good, but the defense is solid. The offense is elite, okay? Because if this team makes the playoffs, you do not want to go up against this offense because they will cook you. And then for the Browns, DTR started it as quarterback, 20 for 34 for completion, threw for 157 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. I mean, ain't nothing much to say about the Browns. They just playing for pride. All right. And that's it. Bengals win 24-6. Moving on to the next game, we got the Detroit Lions defeating the Chicago Bears 34-17 in Chicago. Man, the Bears are awful. But the Detroit Lions played a phenomenal game. And I expected the score to be what it says, okay? Because, like I said, the Bears are awful. Jared Goff, he had a good game. 23 for 32 for completion, threw for 336 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. That one play when the running back stumbled, looking like it was going to be a fumble, but no, Jared Goff throws it to the end zone to Sam Laporta. It is a touchdown. That was a highlight reel. Okay. Amazing trick play by the Detroit Lions. The Lions, even though they're dealing with injuries, they're still a very good football team. Okay. The defense is good. The offense is elite. When you have Jared Goff, he is an elite quarterback. Okay. Jared Goff is an elite quarterback. He is a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League right now. Okay. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback in the league. Okay. And the Lions still got a good running back duo, even though David Montgomery is out for the year, which I really hate because those two were going to go off in the playoffs. Okay. But Lions, they dominated the Bears, hanging on to the number one seed. They're trying to win the division, which they can this week, and lock up the number one seed in the NFC with a win against the 49ers on Monday night, which 100% will happen. And then the Vikings will have to lose to the Packers, which it could happen. The Lions could lock up the division this week, okay? So we'll see where that goes. And then for the Bears, even though they're eliminated from playoff contention, but let me keep saying this, okay? I say this every week. The Hail Mary in Washington, okay? They just can't get over that, okay? They just can't get over the Hail Mary in Washington. Because ever since that Hail Mary, the Bears forgot how to play football. Okay? I don't even think the Bears going to win another game this season. All right? They should just forfeit the rest of your games if you're the Chicago Bears, okay? Because forfeit the games and then just move on to next season. All right? I'm not even going to talk about the stats for Caleb Williams and stuff like that. The Bears played awful against the Lions. It's the Hail Mary in Washington. All right? And that's it. Lions win 34-17 against Chicago. Now, moving on to the next game. We got the Indianapolis Colts defeating the Tennessee Titans 38-30 in Indianapolis. The Colts keeping their playoff hopes alive. What a game by the Indianapolis Colts. The offense was great. The defense was good for the Colts. The running game was good. Jonathan Taylor had himself a touchdown. He had 3 touchdowns. Not fumbling the football on the 1-yard line. Give it up for Jonathan Taylor. Why you couldn't hold on to the ball in Denver? Because if you didn't fumble that ball in Denver, y'all would have won the game. I'm just being real with you. If you did not fumble the football in Denver, y'all definitely would have won the game. And y'all will probably be the 7th seed right now in the playoffs. But Jonathan Taylor had a monster game. 29 attempts, 218 yards, ran for 218 yards, 3 touchdowns. Anthony Richardson, he had a good game. 7 completions, 11 attempts, threw for 131 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The Colts are still alive for the playoffs, man. And I would love to see this team in the playoffs, okay? Because I had them making the playoffs from the start of the season. I had them making the playoffs as the 7th seed because they were a drop pass away last year from winning the division. So when I look at this team, the Colts, they can still make the playoffs. They got a favorable schedule. They should win out the rest of their games. And I feel like they can make the playoffs, okay? I do feel like the Indianapolis Colts could make the playoffs, but they're going to need some help, all right? But if they miss the playoffs, it's going to be that game against Denver. And then for the Titans, ain't nothing much to say about it. The Titans suck. But that's it. Colts win 38-30. Now, moving on to the next game. We got a thriller in the NFC East showdown between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders. Commanders with the upset, 36-33 in Washington. Let's talk about it. Jayden Daniels, that dude is elite. Okay, Jayden Daniels is elite. He's a phenomenal quarterback. Looking at his stats, 24 for 39 completion, threw for 258 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Jayden Daniels on that game-winning drive, upsetting the Philadelphia Eagles. Superman right there. Where the Eagles defense couldn't do nothing, okay? The receivers light their ass up. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm sorry. But they lit them up. Jayden Daniels, 5 touchdowns. Eagles defense. I thought you had a good defense. I thought the Philadelphia Eagles had a good defense. But what happened? What happened on that game-winning drive? I thought the interception sealed the deal when the Eagles were up 38-28. But then 30-28, about to be 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Kenny Pickett drops back, has a man, Devontae Smith wide open. He drops the football. That would have won the Eagles the game. Instead, they go for three. It's 33-28. Commanders get the ball with a chance to win the game. Jayden Daniels does that, and the Commanders are fighting for a playoff spot. And they can still win the NFC East too. They got to win out, and the Eagles lose out, which is not going to happen. But if the Eagles would have won this game, the division race is over, okay? Eagles, y'all should have won this game, okay? Yes, Jalen Hurts got hurt, etc., but Kenny Pickett played amazing, all right? He played amazing, but Devontae Smith, how did you drop that ball? It was right here. All you have to do is tuck it in, game over, okay? And the Commanders had one timeout left. So, yeah, 100% the game would have been over. But otherwise, let's look at the stats for Kenny Pickett. 14 for 24 for completion, threw for 143 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Saquon Barkley had a monster game, 29 attempts, ran for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. A.J. Brown had a good game, 15 targets, 8 receptions for 97 yards, and 1 touchdown. Devontae Smith, he had a good game, but how did you drop the ball? Okay, you should have never dropped that ball. 8 targets, 6 receptions for 51 yards. He had a good game as well, too. Eagles, you technically took yourselves out of the race for the number 1 seed. Now it comes down between Minnesota and Detroit. If you would have won that game, y'all still would be favored to get the number 1 seed in the NFC and get home field advantage throughout the whole playoffs. But the way it's looking, the Philadelphia Eagles are pretty much locked into the number 2 seed. And that's it. Commanders win 36-33 at home. Moving on to the next game, we got the Carolina Panthers defeating the Arizona Cardinals 36-30. The Panthers on the Cardinals, okay? When was the last time the Cardinals beat the Panthers? Because ever since I've been watching the NFL, the Panthers have been beating the Cardinals on every single matchup. Every time they go up against each other, Panthers win. The Panthers just own the Cardinals. Let's talk about it. Bryce Young, phenomenal game. Chuba Hubbard with the game-winning touchdown. Shout out to Chuba Hubbard with the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Bryce Young, he had a good game. 17 for 26 for completion. Threw for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Chuba Hubbard, 2 touchdowns, included the game-winning touchdown in overtime. 25 attempts, ran for 152 yards. Bryce Young also had a rushing touchdown as well, too. And the move by Bryce Young getting benched helped a lot because he learned a lot from Andy Dalton, which was not throwing interceptions, because that's all Andy Dalton does, throw interceptions. But overall, when I look at this game, the Carolina Panthers next season could be a problem in our division. All right. Bryce Young is probably going to play like the best quarterback in the division. I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying he's probably going to be the best quarterback in the division next year, because if the Carolina Panthers give Bryce Young some help, the Panthers are a good team. The defense, they need a lot of pieces on defense. The offense, just give Bryce Young some receivers, okay? He has a good running back, but I feel like if they make some moves in the offseason, the Panthers can make some noise in the NFC South next year. And then for the Cardinals, with that loss, you are officially eliminated from playoff contention. Man, y'all needed that game bad. Kyler Murray, 20 for 32 for completion, threw for 202 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Man, Kyler Murray, you almost had it, but it just wasn't enough to beat the Carolina Panthers. But that's it. Panthers win 36-30 in overtime. Now moving on to the 4 o'clock game. Starting off in Seattle, we got the Minnesota Vikings defeating the Seattle Seahawks 27-24. Let's talk about it. Geno Smith with the game. late interception that lost them the game. Geno Smith, you didn't have to make that throw, okay? He just forced it. As soon as he got the ball, he just said, forget about it. Hopefully the receivers can make a play, but no, it turned out to be an interception. Let's talk about this game in general. The Minnesota Vikings played amazing. The Minnesota Vikings, let me go ahead and say this out the way. I'm saying it right now. If the Minnesota Vikings win the NFC North and get the number 1 seed, they're going to the Super Bowl, okay? Because the Minnesota Vikings are an elite team. Sam Darnold playing like an elite quarterback. They got the best receiver in the NFL, the best wide receiver duo in the league, a good running back, a top 10 running back in Aaron Jones. Let's talk about it. Sam Darnold had a good game, 22 for 35 for completion, threw for 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Justin Jefferson, great game, 13 targets, 10 receptions, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Addison had a good game, also a touchdown too, 1 touchdown, 8 targets, and 5 receptions. Best wide receiver in the league, okay? Who can stop these guys, okay? And who can even guard Justin Jefferson? Like, best receiver in the league, and it's not even close. All right, now let's talk about the Seahawks. Geno Smith had a solid game, 31 for 43 for completion, threw for 314 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. That interception came from the fourth quarter, down 3, need a touchdown to win the game, a field goal to send into overtime. And the Seahawks had a chance to win it to tie it, but the kicker kicks it. The kick comes up short. Vikings take over. Vikings fail to seal the deal, but Seahawks get the ball back. Geno, first play, interception. Man. And the Seahawks needed that game, too, to stay alive for the NFC West. Because the Rams are pretty much going to lock up the division. All right. So hopefully Seattle, the best chance for you to make the playoffs is to win a division. You got to root for the Cardinals and for y'all to beat the Bears, which y'all should beat the Bears, okay? Because if y'all lose to the Bears, and yes, I understand it's in Chicago, but there's no reason why that y'all lose to the Bears, okay? But so this is the scenario for your Seahawks fans. You got to beat the Bears, and you got to have the Cardinals beat the Rams, which will set up Week 18 a win and you're in for both teams. And I feel like it will be that type of game in Week 18. And if it happens, I'm picking the Seahawks to upset the Rams. Because I would love to see Geno Smith in the playoffs. I would love to see them get a home playoff game. Seattle's going to go crazy. And that's it. Vikings win 27-24. Now, moving on to the next game, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders win 19-14 in Las Vegas. Who watched this game? Okay, who watched this game? And let's talk about it. I'm not really going to talk about what happened and all that stuff, who had a good game, but Las Vegas Raiders, really? Why did you win this game? Okay, why? Why did the Raiders win this game? You officially took yourselves out of the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes. You went from number 2 in the draft to number 6 in the draft. Okay, if you would have lost this game, you pretty much would have had Shedeur Sanders. Okay, but they can still get Shedeur Sanders, and he prefers to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. But I'm saying, the Raiders, you just messed up your draft pick, but a win is a win. I ain't going to say nothing much about this game because I didn't really even pay attention. But I just looked at the score and I saw the Raiders won. I was like, I think y'all was taking for Shedeur. And Raiders fans didn't even want to win. They won Shedeur Sanders in Vegas. But that's it. Raiders win 19-14 against the Jaguars. Moving on to the next game, we got the Miami Dolphins defeating the San Francisco 49ers 29-17. Both teams are eliminated from playoff. Well, the 49ers heading into this game are eliminated from playoff contention. The Dolphins are still alive. The 49ers were eliminated from playoff contention with the Rams winning and the Commanders winning. So that officially eliminated the 49ers from playoff contention. But, man, San Francisco had a rough year. Injuries killed them, okay? Injuries killed them a lot. Brandon Ayuk out for the year. Their O-line's hurt. Brock Purdy got hurt. And this team was in the Super Bowl last year, but hey, next season, all right? Next season, they're going to be a problem if they can stay healthy. But shout out to the Miami Dolphins for getting the win and staying alive for the playoffs. Tua Tagovailoa had a good game, 22 completions, 34 attempts, threw for 215 yards, 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. You see what happens when Tua Tagovailoa does not turn the ball over? You see what happens when Tua does not turn the ball over? Dolphins win the game. It's that simple. And now for the 49ers, ain't really nothing much to say about them. Brock Purdy, he had a solid game, 26 from 40 from completion, threw for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Like I said, the 49ers were just out there for pride. This game really didn't mean nothing to them since they were eliminated from playoff contention. And that's it. Dolphins win 29-17. Moving on to the next game, we got the Buffalo Bills defeating the New England Patriots 24-21. At first, Patriots were up 14-0. I was like, Bills, how are you losing to the Patriots? Yes, it is a divisional game, but y'all should beat the Patriots. And it was a sloppy win for the Bills. This win for the Bills wasn't a win like, oh, they dominated them, but they went toe-to-toe with the Patriots. All right. But otherwise, let's talk about this game in general. Josh Allen, 16 for 29 for completion, threw for 154 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. But Josh Allen, you had a pretty good game, but the Bills should not be playing like this against the Patriots. Like, this should have been a team that the score should have been like 30-17 at least. All right, but it's a divisional game. Usually division games are close, but shout out to the Buffalo Bills from barely getting the win. And for the Patriots, the future is bright. All right. A win is a win for the Buffalo Bills. It was a sloppy win, but the Bills will be fine. Okay. They'll be fine. They're still a playoff team. Josh Allen is still a league quarterback. But hey, you got to give credit when credit is due. And that's it. Bills win 24-21. Then we go to Sunday night and Dallas with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys coming to this game were also eliminated from playoff contention with the Commanders beating the Eagles. But shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dallas Cowboys, thank you. Coming from Atlanta Falcons fan, Nard from the Nard Report. Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys. Thank you for beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thank you. I appreciated that because, man, we needed that win a lot, okay? The Cowboys, y'all really needed to win that game. Excuse the lighting there, but my computer about to go dead, so I need to charge it up real quick. Sorry about that, guys. My computer had died on me, so I had to charge it up real quick. As soon as I charged up my computer, it died on me. Sorry about that, guys. But back to what I was saying, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26-24 in Dallas. Shout out to the Cowboys for beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coming from a Falcons fan, thank you for beating the Bucs because we really needed that. Because if it wasn't for the Cowboys, we would not be in first place in the NFC South right now. But overall, Cowboys, great game. Even though they were eliminated from playoff contention, they got their second home win of the season. That was the best Christmas gift for the Dallas Cowboys and their fans, getting a home win. Cooper Rush, he had a good game. 26 for 35 for completion, threw for 292 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. CeeDee Lamb, he had a good game. 8 targets, 7 receptions, and for 105 yards. The Dallas Cowboys played a great game, and when the Cowboys won the game, I was so happy. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties again. I don't know what's going on, but next episode, I promise I'll have everything figured out. But the Dallas Cowboys played a great game. The defense was phenomenal. The offense was good. CeeDee Lamb had a good game. Cooper Rush had a good game. The defense for the Cowboys was elite. That interception by Jordan Lewis, which I thought McMillan caught that for the Buccaneers. I thought that dude for the Buccaneers caught it. But no, Jordan Lewis makes the play on the interception, which technically saved our season. If it wasn't for Jordan Lewis and DaRon Bland, shout out to those two guys that saved the Falcons season. Man, oh my God, I love the Cowboys, okay? I love the Dallas Cowboys, okay? And I'm proud of what they did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now for the Buccaneers, Baker had a good game. 31 for 43 from completion, threw for 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Irvin, he had a good game, 16 attempts for 68 yards and 1 touchdown. But let's go to the end of the game, okay? Let's go to the end of the game. Buccaneers down to 26-24. They need a field goal to win the game. Baker Mayfield. All right. Hike the ball. Ready? Hike. They coming. Cowboys blitzing. Baker almost got the sack, but no. He flips it to Rachaad White. Gets about 7 yards, but hold on. All right, he's down, but hold on. The ball's taken away by DaRon Bland. It's a fumble recovered by Dallas. Cowboys win. I was so lit, man. I was lit. When I tell you I was lit on that DaRon Bland fumble. And now the Falcons are back in first place in the NFC South, and they control their own destiny. And that's it. Cowboys win 26-24. Shout out to them Cowboys. How about them Cowboys, baby? Now, last game for Monday Night Football, the Packers dominated. They blow out the Saints 34-0. And that's all I got to say. Packers win. They're in the playoffs. That's it for Week 16 NFL recap. Now, I'm here to give y'all my Week 17 NFL predictions. Week 17 of the NFL season kicks off tomorrow with 2 games on Netflix. We got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Houston Texans. All right. Here are my predictions. For the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is a very good game. Chiefs win. They lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Steelers are still fighting for their division. But overall, I'm going to go with an upset. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll do my predictions on TikTok and post them on Instagram at @the_NAR_report. So make sure y'all go check that out as well, too. But overall, the Steelers defense is going to play phenomenal against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They're going to slow down Xavier Worthy. They're going to bring pressure on Mahomes. I feel like TJ Watt is going to have one sack. Okay. So give me the Steelers over the Chiefs. We got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Houston Texans, a potential wild card preview. Give me the Ravens over the Texans. Thursday Night Football, we got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Chicago Bears. I got the Seahawks beating the Bears. There's no questions about that. Chargers Patriots, give me the Chargers over the Patriots. That's easy. We got the Denver Broncos taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Good game right here. Huge playoff implications on the line. Bengals win. Their season is alive. Broncos win. They are going to the playoffs. And that officially shuts the AFC playoff race, okay? If the Chargers and the Broncos win, the AFC playoff race is over. All right. So the 7 teams in the AFC that will make the playoffs: Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Steelers, Chargers, and Broncos. If the Chargers and Broncos win on Saturday. I got the Bengals. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals over the Denver Broncos in a huge game. I feel like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is going to have a great game. But the Broncos defense is good too. Don't sleep on this Broncos defense, but I feel like Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are going to go off. And they're at home too. Next Saturday game, we had 3 Saturday games. Last one, we got the Cardinals and the Rams. Give me the Rams over the Cardinals, but the Cardinals can play spoiler though. The Cardinals might play spoiler. So the 3 Saturday games: Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Bengals, and Cardinals and Rams. Now moving on to the Sunday games. We got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the New York Giants. Colts looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're going to win this game, okay? That's the easy W for the Colts. Colts, if y'all lose to the Giants, y'all are frauds. All right? And if y'all lose to the Giants, next episode, I'm going to get on y'all. We got the Buffalo Bills taking on the New York Jets. The Bills will beat the Jets. We got the Tennessee Titans going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nobody's going to be watching this game. So I got the Jaguars over the Titans. Yes, give me the Jaguars over the Titans. We got the Las Vegas Raiders and the New Orleans Saints. I'm taking the Saints. Dang, a lot of these games don't really matter to teams because they're already eliminated from playoff contention, or they could be eliminated this week. So a lot of these games could matter as long as it lasts, okay, while it lasts. Next game, we got the Carolina Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last time these two teams played in Carolina, Panthers were 30 seconds away from winning the game. It went into overtime. Chuba Herbert, if you don't fumble that ball, Panthers win that game. Excuse me right there, but I'm rolling with the Carolina Panthers to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Panthers ended the Cardinals season last week, and I feel like they're going to end the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season this upcoming Sunday. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles win. The NFC East race is over. They will win the division. The Eagles will beat the Cowboys. If the Eagles lose this game, I don't know what to say. Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Cleveland Browns. I got the Dolphins beating the Browns, but the Dolphins could lose this game because, the Dolphins don't play good in cold weather. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. A potential playoff preview if the Vikings win the division, but this is going to be a very good game. Both teams playing at a high level. 2 quarterbacks playing in the league. 2 elite quarterbacks going up against each other. Offenses are good. They got a very good defense for both teams. I am rolling with the Minnesota Vikings over the Green Bay Packers because the Vikings are a very good team, okay? I don't know how this Packers defense is going to slow down Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. That is the best wide receiver in the league. Next game, Sunday Night Football. Game of the week. My Atlanta Falcons versus the Washington Commanders. We have a chance, okay? First of all, this game is our season, okay? This is our season right here, all right? We need to lock in. I feel like Michael Penix Jr. is about to go crazy. The defense, I need y'all to be on y'all A game, okay? We got to slow down Jaden Daniels, stop him from scrambling out of the pocket, apply pressure on him, and slow down Scary Terry. As long as we do that, as long as the defense plays phenomenal and Michael Penix does his thing, we'll be fine. All right? Now, Michael Penix Jr. versus Jaden Daniels, 2 rookie quarterbacks going up against each other. I'm glad they made this game Sunday Night Football. Now, Commanders are looking to lock up a playoff spot. The Falcons could potentially win the NFC South with a win and a Tampa Bay loss. All right? So that's why I said this game is our season right here. But anyways, I'm taking my Atlanta Falcons to upset the Washington Commanders. Yes, I feel like we could beat Washington because Washington has been a beatable team this year. They almost lost to the Bears. If the Cowboys can beat them, we can beat them. All right. And we beat the Cowboys. So my Atlanta Falcons will roll into Washington and upset the Commanders. And then for Monday Night Football, we got the Lions and 49ers. The Lions will beat the 49ers. So I'm going to go over my predictions again. Chiefs, Steelers, I got the Steelers. Ravens, Texans, I got the Ravens. Seahawks, Bears, I got the Seahawks. Chargers, Patriots, I got the Chargers. Broncos, Bengals, I got the Bengals. Cardinals, Rams, I got the Rams. Colts, Giants, I got the Colts. Jets, Bills, I got the Bills. Titans, Jaguars, I got the Jags. Raiders, Saints, I got the Saints. Panthers, Bucks, I got the Panthers. Cowboys, Eagles. Dolphins, Browns. Packers, Vikings. Falcons, Commanders, Falcons. Lions, 49ers, Lions. I almost said 49ers there. So that's Steelers, Ravens, Seahawks, Chargers, Bengals, Rams, Colts, Bills, Jags, Saints, Panthers, Eagles, Dolphins, Vikings, Falcons, and Lions. Those are the teams I have winning in week 17. And now there are 2 weeks left in the NFL season, and I like to talk about what's at stake. A lot of clinching scenarios this week for 4 teams, all right? A lot of clinching scenarios, okay? And I'm going to get into that shortly. And the playoff picture is coming down to the wire, baby. It is coming down to the wire, all right? AFC, will the Chargers and the Broncos lock up their playoff spots this weekend on Saturday? We'll see about that. Will my Atlanta Falcons win the NFC South on Sunday night against the Commanders? With a Bucks loss as well, too. I'm praying. Okay? So, a lot of these teams are fighting for their playoff lives. No, number 1 seed in the NFC still up for grabs. There's a lot at stake at week 17. All right? And I'm going to go over some clinching scenarios real quick. Starting off with my Atlanta Falcons, we can clinch the NFC South with a win and a Bucks loss to the Carolina Panthers. And I'm very confident that can happen too. Okay, I'm very confident that can happen because the Panthers really could end the Bucks season. They ended the Cardinals season last week in Carolina. And the way the Carolina Panthers have been playing, they've been playing phenomenal. All right. So I feel like that will happen. All right. It can happen. All right. But let's just hope of the best. I'm praying. All right. But rise up, baby. And another one. The Kansas City Chiefs can clinch the number 1 seed with a win against the Steelers tomorrow. The Denver Broncos can clinch a playoff berth with a win against the Bengals. The Chargers, a win, and they're in the playoffs. Like I said in my predictions earlier in the show, if the Broncos and the Chargers win, the AFC playoff race is over. All those 7 teams in the AFC will officially make the playoffs. All right. And in the NFC, Lions can clinch the division and the number 1 seed with a win and a Vikings loss. The Eagles clinch the NFC East with a win. Rams, they can clinch the NFC West with a win and a Seahawks loss. The Commanders could clinch a playoff berth with a win or a Tampa Bay loss, which it could happen. And then, like I said, my Atlanta Falcons win and a Tampa Bay loss. We clinched the NFC South for the first time since 2016. I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. I am confident. I'm not going to jinx nothing. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to jinx us. I'm just praying. Okay, I'm going to pray. And that concludes today's show of the NAR Report. Episode 18 is a wrap. Thanks for all the people that joined. Keep on subscribing to the YouTube. Keep on showing all the love and support. And I'll keep on doing this. Happy holidays from NAR, from the NAR Report. Make sure to follow me on all of my social media platforms on Instagram and TikTok at @D_NAR_report. And sub to the YouTube. Click that bell to get all the notifications on when I go live and when I post. Have a good day. Happy holidays. NAR out.